Recessions and depressions are common historically. You can look that up and research it for yourself. What you will find is that they do not happen simultaneously globally, but what we're finding now is that this financial crisis is going global. That is a huge problem when something bad happening in one country could spread out to the entire world like an infectious disease. You came here for the truth. Let's unveil that right now. This news out of Bloomberg: Russia can't be blackmailed over Ukraine, Putin says. This is his quote right here. I'll read that right now. "We hope that our partners will realize the futility of attempts to blackmail Russia and remember what consequences discord between major nuclear powers could bring for strategic stability." That is a direct threat to the West, saying to them, back off. And that is exactly what he's been saying for a while, but the intensity at which he's saying this seems to increase, and the tension is really rising right now. This is becoming more and more worrisome for that area right there and for the rest of the world, of course. This is right here out of Reuters. Bonds rally, stocks fall as global economy fears mount. That's quite interesting because while the stock market was rising, the economy was doing just fine. I don't know where this came out of, and all of a sudden a few bad days and here it is, all the negative news. The bears come out of the woodwork. Let's look further down in the article. Two things I want to note. They're talking about worries of a global slowdown, and then the highlighted portion, the latest signs that the global economy may be losing its footing. And that's something that I've been talking about for quite some time. Wrote about it in my book as well, basically showing you that there is no economy anymore when you've shipped all the manufacturing jobs all the way out into third world countries, and you're basically using the bailout money to have those factories being built. It's quite sad, actually. And then you have a maximum amount of debts in the government. And then how do you fix that? By raising taxes. Let's get into this right away. This is out of the Washington Times. The federal government collected a record amount of taxes in fiscal year 2014, topping $3 trillion in revenue for the first time in history. So right here, you have $3 trillion of money coming in, yet the country is in the most amount of debt that it's ever been. There is a great divide that has been created here between reality and fiction, and this is one very good example of that. This government has taxed the public to death. At the same time, they are basically in the most amount of debt possible. It doesn't make any sense at all. And this is what I'm talking about in my book. Look at this. The West is trying to fund wars they cannot afford, not to mention that they're unjustified. Tax dollars pay for these battles, and people will continue to pay for them for as far as the eye can see. They're using tax dollars, those $3 trillion in revenue. Part of that, a large percentage of that, in fact, goes to kill people all across the world. Who knows what else is being used for? We've seen all the sick things that have been done, and that's the kind of thing I'm trying to warn about there. Look at this, how it's gone global. This is the Canadian Stock Exchange, the TSX, falling below 14,000. And you could see how many months, basically the entire year, erasing the gains in only a short period of time. So that's something to look at, that it isn't just the US stock market, right? It's also in Canada as well. And what about China? Right here out of Bloomberg, China easing home loans. And basically what they said was this: China is lowering the down payment requirements and discounting mortgages as declining housing sales put a drag on the economy. And what they said was that the housing prices multiplied manyfold in a short period of time, so they needed to input these things to calm the market down. But of course, the global economy begins to slow down. So what do? They start relaxing on all that. And of course, it inflates the bubble further. They cannot let go of this bubble. They're just going to pump it up and pump it up and pump it up. And there are going to be holes appearing all sorts in this bubble, and they're just going to sit there and patch them up instead of letting that bubble burst and fixing it from the ground up. That is never going to happen. And this, of course, just more news. This is out of the AP. Greece returns to the market spotlight with a nosedive. And then the first paragraph says basically concerns over the stability of the government and its bailout program triggered a massive sell-off in stocks and bonds. You cannot gain stability by allowing the IMF and the whole Troika, the EU, and all of them basically making the decisions by unelected technocrats to make this decision. You can't bring stability to that nation. It is impossible to do so using these methods. You need to fix the real problem. The number one is getting the IMF out of there. They're doing nothing but hurting that economy. I got over it a million times, how they sell the assets of that nation. Here it is, once again. They are saying that there's concern here, but the real concern is what's going on behind the shadow. Banking is the problem. And this also extends here. Germany was widely considered to be one of the strongest economies in the world, and here they are lowering their growth estimate. They couldn't even have 1.8% growth. They need to lower that to 1.2, and of course they will not meet that estimate. It's always lower than it is, and that's using their fake government numbers. So you know that these are all false, all fraudulent, and this is going worldwide. This whole thing is global because of globalization. They connected all the markets together. These markets have been in sync since approximately the year 2000. You can see how they move up and down relatively simultaneously, and this is all because of what's happening. You're connecting all these governments into some sort of global governance scheme that they always talk about at Davos, World Economic Forum, when the IMF gets together. The UN loves to mention it, and the G20 nations, the G8, all of these different organizations that come together and decide that they are going to do things together as one, as a unit, as a union, and this is what happens. These are the results. You have massive debt appearing all over the world. Unemployment is ravaging the public. Poverty is increasing. Unemployment is increasing. As I said, there is nothing here to look forward to except for a decline. We can hope that this market will cool off. It is very healthy for that market to cool off significantly, not just 10%. It needs to come down significantly to get everything reset. But of course, they're not going to let that happen. They're going to continue to print. They're going to give the easy money policies, and we're going to have to deal with the same thing again. You got to hear me say the same things again because it's all happening over and over and over again. So I'll be that broken record to bring you that truth out there, even when the media will not. If you found this informative, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out a lot. I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the comments and all the kind words everyone's giving me. And do not forget to be an insider. It's where I give out all my best intel for free, and that is available at themoneygps.com. It's under construction right now. Just bear with me. And you scroll down to the bottom, fill in your email address, and you get occasional emails from me with good, short, concise info.